Okay, greetings everyone. Yesterday was the Mandela Centenary in South Africa, and one of the keynote speakers was former President of the United States, Barack Obama. And at this event, Obama was invited as a speaker to basically weigh in on the event, actually make mention of how Nelson Mandela impacted the world society and the South African society. He made some quotes from Nelson Mandela, which were very quotable quotes. And basically, to me, the speech seemed like he wanted to make a departure from the philosophy in the current land reclamation program in South Africa, because he made some indirect comments about the politics, the political will of the people, and he sort of spoke against some of the, I guess, anti-Indian and anti-white commentary that is currently being made in South Africa. But he spoke about it, in his usual diplomatic tone. So he didn't really name any names, but he indirectly critiqued the land issue. Already made reference to my immigration policies, and he basically said that immigration policies should not be informed by hate. He spoke about the erroneous information in the media and the potential for it to destroy democratic life, because misinformation leads to public unrest and sometimes upheavals against the status quo. But he did make comments like, he wanted to see an end of the tribalism, the strong versus weak politics. And what I wanted to say to President Obama, the strong versus weak campaign was began by the Boers in South Africa. They used their political power, they used the resources that they were able to wield to create a system of inequality and oppression, and they basically oppressed the masses. It was a minority imposing its will on the masses. So at this point in time, if the masses have regained their sense of self-determination and are now trying to level the playing field, to get rid of some of the oppressive policies, oppressive land arrangements that are currently holding the society back from progress, namely the black population. Right? So when Mr. Obama made these comments, I saw that basically he is echoing some of the sentiments of the anti-revolution segment of South Africa, those who are against the land redistribution. He basically echoed some of their sentiments, but he said it in an indirect way. And many times in the past, even while Mr. Obama was in power, Mr. Obama always said what was politically safe. He never actually made any direct comments about any racial inequalities, except to make passing remarks and indirect comments. And many people have faulted Obama for these types of things. While he was in power, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, because I know that his position comes with a lot of checks and balances, and he needs to be careful what he says, right? But right now, he is a public citizen, and I would have expected better from Mr. Obama. Even though it was a dynamic speech, most of what he said was 100% fact. He didn't tell any lies per se, but what he did do was sort of give credibility to the anti-revolution sentiment in South Africa by making it seem like strong versus weak is something that can be applied in these circumstances. So in these circumstances, there's not any radicalism, there's no violence going on. The only thing that's taking place is that the land is being reclaimed. Okay. He spoke about the lack of integrity of leadership. He spoke about the higher ideals and the need to aspire to higher ideals. This is his usual rhetoric, but it's powerful to be said at a Mandela Centenary celebration, which was a very powerful thing for him to be saying at that time. I always compared Barack Obama with Nelson Mandela, his speaking style and his approach to issues. He's sort of like level-headed, when it comes to the issues. But I would just say, the most important thing that he mentioned was basically, getting rid of the disinformation and misinformation that has plagued societies. Many politicians give misinformation, and this leads to chaos and the need for tribunals and councils to correct things that they would say. But while all this was taking place outside, the Khoi and the San people were making a protest against what they believe was an oppressive policy under the colonial era, in which people were categorized as colored. So they burned their identity documents in a show of disapproval of that period in time, and they're making a break from that oppressive period of time in which people were classified as colored, and on their documentation they couldn't be acknowledged by the name of their original people, or being acknowledged as humans at the full extent of the law. So the Khoi and San people physically burned their documents, their former passports from the apartheid era, and they wanted to make a separation and make a public statement, which was very powerful. I just wanted to reiterate that, these types of things wouldn't take place if there was appropriate consideration given to the former tribal councils and their leadership. The people who are indigenous to South Africa need to have a voice in the political discourse. And I think this type of statement that they made is indicative of the need to address these concerns, because the people obviously have had enough. Not enough consideration is being made when decisions about the land are taking place. And while I agree with taking the land away from the white farmers and white owners, I think we need to give more consideration to the indigenous blacks who deserve a role in these discussions, and indeed a role in the decision making about the country in general, because everything that is decided at the state level affects them and affects their people. So I would just like for more people to consider this, and to let me know what your feedback is concerning Barack Obama's speech at the Mandela Centenary, and the Khoi and the San who burned their identity documents to destroy the stranglehold grip that the former colonial regime has on the people and used to enjoy. But just let me know what your thoughts are. One love.